Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Alex Curry here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys. How we doing today?
Yeah. What's so funny?
Me and Alex.
You laughing?
Yeah, me and Alex tag team you. You see how she dressed? See what I got on? Yeah, your day number. The day.
You text last night?
Your day number.
Did you? Are you besties now?
No, you're not.
I'm just asking.
You just by yourself.
All I care about right now is that the countdown has begun toward the potential Super Bowl showdown on Sunday. The NFC's best teams, maybe the two best teams in pro football right now, facing off at the Super Bowl site right here in Los Angeles at SoFi. I've got Bucs, and you unfortunately have Rams.
You want to go see it? You want to go?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay. You ain't thinking about it. You ain't going to do nothing.
I was thinking harder about it until I heard that AB is probably no more for this game.
That's not looking good.
No.
Now, we'll get to that in just a bit, but we've got a new ranking of NBA's best players heading into the season, and Ben Simmons was listed at number 28 overall, despite his murky future with the 76ers. However, what caught many people's eyes was the player ranked directly behind him, former MVP and new Laker Russell Westbrook at number 29. Now, Shannon, I'm assuming you got a problem with this?
Of course I do. I have a huge problem with it.
A huge problem?
Yes, I do, Skip.
Love this.
Because when you look at it, Skip, there's nothing that Ben Simmons does offensively that's better than anything. Even the worst thing that Russ does at three-point, which is three-point shooting, Ben Simmons is worse than Russ. So if we still look at scoring, is Ben Simmons better than Russell Westbrook at scoring? No. Is he better at passing? No. Is he better at shooting? No. Is he better at rebounding? Russell Westbrook is 6'3" tall. Ben Simmons is 6'10", 6'11". Is he a better rebounder than Russ? Absolutely not. Skip, this is and we talk about this all the time, and I know I've mentioned it a lot, and people are probably tired of me mentioning it. Pro sports is about updating your resume. Ben Simmons, first year in the league, he was 16, 8 and 8. 16 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Last year, he was 14, 7 and 7. So instead of improving in statistical categories, he's regressing. So I'm trying to figure out, how do you get that? You say, well, you know what, Shannon? On the defensive end, Ben Simmons is a monster. Is Ben Simmons more dominant on the offensive end than Russell Westbrook is on the offensive end? I don't believe he is. I don't believe Ben Simmons is a more dominant defensive player than a force of Russ is on the offensive end. Skip, I'm baffled by this. And I think what we're starting to see is that everybody sees the potential in what Ben Simmons can be. What someone can be and what they actually are two entirely different things. We've seen man, this joker's so talented. Ooh, he has all the talent. He can run, jump, catch. He can do everything. Okay, well, so when is he going to do it? Ben Simmons is 6'10", 6'11". He has all the tools. Yes, he can dribble the basketball. Yes, he can facilitate the offense. He can rebound. He can assist. But, Skip, when is that talent, when is that going to meet the potential, manifest itself on the court, and we see the finished product, and we say, well, God. There's a difference. When we look at Kevin Durant, if Kevin Durant was just 7 foot tall and he wouldn't do what he's capable of doing, we like, man, KD has it all. He's 7 foot tall. He can do this. He can do that. He does that. There have been a lot of 7 foot tall guys. Dirk was 7 foot, but he couldn't do what KD does. There are a lot of guys shorter, but they can't do what KD. So that's what makes him unique. There are a lot of guys that can't shoot in the NBA. That's not unique to Ben. But when you got a guy that's 6'10", that's supposed to be a superstar, and he's so limited offensively, Skip, I don't know how you become a superstar if you're so limited on the offensive end. And not everybody want to talk about defense, but you're in an offensive league now. Defense doesn't carry the same weight. Now, you have to play some defense, but it doesn't carry the weight like it did in the 80s, in the 90s, when teams were really defensive-oriented, Skip. And you saw 73-75 ball games, 80-79 ball games. Now, you don't see that. So I have a huge problem with Russell Westbrook being ranked behind Ben Simmons.
Shannon Sharpe, I have been trying to tell you. This validates what I have been trying to get through your stubborn head.
How?
Here's the point. Russell Westbrook, your new point guard of your Los Angeles Lakers, has always been supremely overrated as a winning basketball player. It is why Kevin Durant finally said, I can't take it anymore. I got to go win me a ring, so I'll join forces with that team. And I'll be the Finals MVP back-to-back years. Ben Simmons has always been, as I've tried to explain to you, subtly underrated as a winning basketball player because he can do so much in the box score that is subtle, not easily grasped. And I realize he's got free throw demons right now. It obviously cost them down the stretch.
Tell that to the Sixers fans.
Okay.
He got untapped potential.
Okay, well, let's go back quickly to that Game 7, shall we?
Yeah, we shall.
Ben Simmons has been back-to-back first-team all-defense in the NBA. And it manifests itself live and in sort of hidden sight, if you will, in that Game 7, because all the post-game focus went on. He turned down the shot because he didn't want to shoot the free throws.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, what was happening to Trae Young, little tiny mice Trae, as I call him? What was happening? Ben Simmons was doing a number on him in Game 7 at 6 feet 10 inches. He enveloped him. He suffocated little mice Trae and held him to 5 of 23 from the field and 2 of 11 from 3, and that should have been good enough to win that game because meanwhile, Ben Simmons did give you 8 rebounds, and guess what else he gave you? He gave you 13 assists. And you want to talk about a fast break initiator, an igniter of the fast break? Who is the fastest player in the league with the ball in his hands on the break?
Russ.
It is not close to Russ. It is Ben Simmons at 6'10". You can go look at the analytics. Lonzo's up in the discussion and debate also, but it is Ben Simmons. He is freakishly fast with the ball in his hands leading the break, and he is a gifted passer. He's a far more gifted passer than Russell Westbrook is.
But the question is, okay, yes, he has more gifts, but what good are gifts if you can't use them, if you don't have them on display?
Okay, and furthermore, I'm going to finish on Game 7 because we know what happened after the game. We're going to talk about exactly what Doc did or didn't say after the game. We'll talk about that in a little while because he might be doing a little damage control, a little spin control, or he might be telling some truth there, but we'll get into that.
Okay.
Ben Simmons just Joel Embiid just flat out threw Ben right under the bus after the game. And yet, I look at the box score now, and I just now realize, wait a second. Joel Embiid had a nice game, but he had 8 turnovers. Did that cost them? That's 8. That's a lot of turnovers.
Yes.
So I look at plus minus in this Game 7 at home. They should have won it. And I'm looking at all the players who played significant minutes in this game, and only one has a plus. Ben Simmons has a +1 because he subtly is very effective as a winning basketball player. Embiid was a -2. Tobias was a -6. Seth Curry was a -2. George Hill was a -15, and Thibault was a -10. Ben Simmons was a +1 in that game, and I think that was significant because he was doing good things except for running from the free throw line at the end of the game.
But Skip, what you're doing is that you're focusing on one game. I'm talking about the totality of the season.
I'd love
if
to
you
talk about that.
look at Russ's numbers.
Okay, who was the 1 seed last year in the East? Was it your guy in Milwaukee? Was it Giannis? No, it wasn't Giannis. Was it Maestre's team? No, it wasn't Maestre's team. We could go on and on. Who else in the East did you? Oh, it was Philadelphia.
Right.
And was that because Ben Simmons was probably the most effective and valuable player on that team?
Oh, whoa. I noticed you mentioned Game 7, but mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How did he do in those games?
Well, they did win 3 of them.
Yeah,
right?
but hold on. You're the number 1 seed. You just talked about how great the number 1 seed was. You lost to a lower seed. As a matter of fact, that was the 8th seed that beat you.
And in 2019, it took the luckiest shot in the history of playoff basketball to keep this team from rising into the conference finals.
No. This is a 2021 ranking. We're talking about right now.
Okay.
And there's no way. I don't know how you come. And see, Skip, again, people keep basing it on talent. Talent. What about performance? Russ averaged more points, more rebounds, more assists. And the one thing we know, maybe to his fault, Russ is never afraid. He like Bone Crusher and Killer Mike. He never scared.
You got that right.
Your guy, Skip, your guy's scared. He on the basketball court. He's scared to shoot. Really?
So I wish that Russ was a little more scared to shoot because he has proven over 13 years in this league to simply be the single worst superstar jump shooter in the history of professional basketball.
Ben Simmons says, hold my beer.
Okay, well, he doesn't even try to shoot.
Okay.
Russ is a high-volume three-point shooter, and if I look at since he came into the league, 246 players have attempted over that 13-year span at least 3 threes a game.
Yeah.
And he ranks, of the 246, third from the bottom. It's just Josh Jackson and Baron Davis are below him. That's horrendously bad, especially when you couple it with the fact that he's become worse and worse at the free throw line. He's got his own demons. 2 of the last 3 years, he's shot 66% from the free throw line, and he's a point guard, right?
The best your guy ever shot is 61%.
Okay, well, this guy's tumbling all the way into the middle 60s, which is pretty frightening.
Well, when is your guy going to tumble up? When is your guy going to get to 70?
Well, I'm starting to wonder... When is LeBron going to just tumble off the cliff at the end of the year? Because he's going to say, how can I rise above a guy who has led the league in turnovers 4 times and been second 4 times, has led the league in usage rate 4 times and been second 4 times. He demands the ball, has to have the ball in his hands because he is a solo act.
Yeah.
This is classically the most selfish player in basketball versus the most unselfish player is that number 25 for Philadelphia. Who's still only 25 years old.
He's only 25. And I'm not saying Ben Simmons is a bad basketball player. All I'm saying is that I don't believe he's better than Russ is currently. Now, what he might become in 2-3 years, but what we've seen, over the last 4 since they've both been in the league, he's never had more rebounds, points, or assists than Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is 6'3", he's 6'10".
And that contributes to what? Winning or losing?
Hold on.
Mostly losing.
Hold on. How many rings Ben Simmons got?
Well, he's still only 25 years of age. I'll give him a much better shot at winning a ring than Russ.
With who?
With Philly. That's where he's going to stay. There's no way they should trade him.
Well, no, you said they shouldn't, but I'm telling you they are. But hold on, Skip. You said Joel Embiid threw him under the bus. He did. But who was driving that bus? Doc Rivers. We're going to talk about that a little later. Skip, all I'm saying is I don't understand. I thought the objective was to progressively get better. His numbers have declined.
I know, but it's so ironic and amusing to me that people say Ben needs to shoot threes, attempt threes. And I'm saying Russ needs to quit shooting threes.
Well, how about shooting the basketball, period?
He's a career 31% three-point shooter. Last year, he was even a tick better at 32%. And guess what that ranked? 150th of 156 qualified three-point shooters in the league.
Well, guess who?
You like that?
Guess who was 157 of 156?
Well, he doesn't try. And when you don't, what you don't try doesn't hurt your team.
Yes, it does.
Why? No, it does not.
Skip, because you're playing 5-on-4.
Oh, I don't think so, because he can drive it just the way Russ can drive. He can be just as effective. One night with no Joel Embiid in the game, I watched at Utah. I started watching it. I couldn't quit watching it on February 13th of this past season.
Yeah.
And all I saw Ben do was score 42 in that game. How can he do that if you can't shoot?
Whoa.
How can you do that? And he was just taking it right to Rudy Gobert.
No, stop that. He was 10. He was, first of all, I need you to stop telling this story because Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors and one other guy, he was 6 or 17 on them. He was 10 for 10 against Bogdanovich. So the majority of his numbers came. But again, you see what you did? You isolated one game. I didn't know the NBA season was one game. I thought it was 72 games this past season.
Guess what he made from the free throw line that night? 12 of 13? You don't think he can shoot free throws? Yes, he can.
Well, if he was 12 or 13 and he somehow ended the season at 61%, what the hell was he the other games?
I've told you from the start, my only issue with Ben Simmons is I wish I could pour just a little bit of Russ into him intangibly.
Well, you can't.
Because he is low motor. He seems to have low passion. I wish I could see a little bit more fury in his game, just a little more rage. Russ plays with rage not to win, but to star. He wants to star.
He plays to win.
Stat star. That's all. He realized 5 years ago, wait a second. Oh, if I keep driving it and then I just leave it on the floor for Steven Adams to dunk, I get assists.
No, I think Russ came to the realization, they left me for dead. Everybody's saying that I was dependent on Kevin Durant, that everything I am was because of KD. I'm going to show you that I am a damn good basketball player minus KD. Yes, KD made us a championship caliber team. But just because KD is not here, that doesn't mean I cannot thrive. I cannot succeed. And what did he do? He went out and averaged a 30-point triple-double. And he's been averaging those.
And where did that get Oklahoma City?
Skip, only one team can win the title every year. So if we look at it in that, so no matter what somebody does, so what did KD 49, 17, and 10 get him? Nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
He became a solo act like Russ, except he's a way better solo act than Russ because he took it right to the brink. And if he didn't have one toenail over the three-point line, we'd be having a real different conversation right now because you wouldn't be driving the Giannis bandwagon.
No, but even though Kevin Durant is spectacular, they closed the curtain on his tent. His tent got folded up and put away until later this fall.
After he delivered two of the great playoff masterpiece games we've ever seen in 5 and 7. I've never seen anything like it before.
I've seen it before. I've seen a lot of teams lose in the playoffs. That's what happens. That's why you have one champion. But back to our originally scheduled program, and our topic is Ben Simmons. 14 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, versus a guy that's 22, 11, and 11.
Okay, for his career, Ben Simmons is 16, 8, and 8. That's winning basketball because the turnovers are low.
What have they won? You keep telling me that's winning basketball. What have they won?
As Doc said yesterday, he gets so many players, so many open shots. Yeah. That's not what Russ
about
does.
Himself?
Huh?
What about himself?
Well,
hell, I'm not finna feed 5,000 if I don't eat myself.
How do you score 42 a game in a game if you're not capable?
Skip, again. We're not arguing. I think we're like two cars passing on the same road. I'm not saying that he's not talented. Obviously, he's the number 1 overall pick. He's 6'10". He can handle the ball.
He can rebound. Run with the ball,
he can defend.
Yep.
But at some point in time, that needs to manifest itself on the court.
Rookie of the year. Then next year, All-Star. Last year, All-Star. So 3 straight All-Stars, 2 straight defensive. First team defense.
Russ has been an all-star.
First team?
Russ has been an all-star 10 straight times.
And
he's been all NBA. He's been an MVP. So what's better? Russ has been an MVP.
Solo act.
Are we going to forget about that?
Since KD left, Russ is 8 and 21 in playoff games. 8 and 21, and now he's your point guard.
Skip.
You getting scared?
Skip.
You starting to shake?
Skip.
Listen, this guy is hell on wheels, literally, because it can go to hell in a second.
But that normally happens when a great player leaves a team. That normally happens. That's not a surprise that when KD left. I mean, look what happened to Cleveland when LeBron left. Look what happened to Miami when LeBron left Miami. They still had D-Wade and Chris Bosh. They weren't the same team. When you're dealing with a generational or historically great player and he leaves, the likelihood of your team continuing on that path in which you were on while he was there is not very good.
So last year, Russ shot 66% from the free throw line. That ranked 103 of 110 qualified free throw shooters. 103rd of 110?
So which is better, 61% or 66%? Because your guy shot 61%.
I'm not sure that I would trust Russ that much more at the late game free throw line than I would trust Ben Simmons.
Skip, your guy's not even in there on late game free throws because they take him out. He became unplayable. Remember, that's what got Doc in trouble.
That is fixable. And I think they said they hired a new shot.
What kind of mechanic you got to fix that?
Like a Dr. Freud mechanic. That's what you need. You need psychoanalysis.
So you just go put it
psychological. The form is great. The motion is true and pure. There's nothing wrong with his motion of his shot.
Skip, if it was that easy, I mean, how many guys that we've seen that had these problems? David Duval never got it fixed. Rick Ankiel never got it fixed. Steve Sachs had to retire. Chuck Knobloch retired. So it's not, I mean, people, you make it seem like it's just easy. Oh, man, he got a little mental block. He just fixed that and right back out there. You think it's that easy? Hell, if it was that easy, he'd have done did it.
Once upon a time, not that long ago, 2017, Russ made 85% of his free throws.
Right.
Now he's plummeted all the way to 66, and that was 2 of the last 3 years of 66. He's got the demons in his head, too. He's going up there saying, uh-oh, not again.
So let me ask you this. So let's just say for the sake of argument, he does speak to a sports psychologist. You think Ben Simmons shooting 85% one season from the free throw line?
He's got the capability of it.
Skip, I got the capability to walk from here to Miami. That don't mean I can do it.
I like the stroke. It's all in his head.
Skip,
I've seen the videos of him just draining threes in practice. Obviously, there's nobody guarding him.
I've seen Dwight Howard in practice draining threes. What does that mean?
I haven't, actually.
I have.
I haven't seen him drain threes.
Drain them.
I've seen him make one.
I've seen JaVale McGee shoot threes.
Okay.
Skip, come on, man.
Come on, man.
You know good and well, Skip, see, I think the thing is, look, I'm not saying Ben Simmons is not a talent.
Okay. You're trying to defend Russ because you're stuck with it.
No, Skip, what's to defend? The numbers are what they are.
They're solo act numbers because they don't contribute to winning championships.
Okay, Skip, how does that, if I'm playing 5-on-4, how does that help me on the offensive end when they leave him uncovered? And if he passing up layups, he passed up a dunk on a 6'1" to pass it to a guy that's 6'8" that's double covered.
What do you always say about Deion Sanders? He can just take half the field away and just say, I got this.
Yes.
So can he. He just says, Trae Young, seriously? He'll be no factor.
But Skip, he was a factor. He averaged 29-11.
But he was shooting like 30%.
All I know is that his team, which was a lower seed, beat the higher team with two better players on that team, right? You would say Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are better than any player or any 1-2 players that are on the Hawks, right?
They should have won. They were in commanding position to win
And then what
again
happened?
and again
And what
again.
happened?
Something was wrong with the basketball team. It's troubled internally, and I don't know why. Maybe it's Ben versus Joel clashing internally, but it sounds like they can make peace.
They can't. No. Stop that.
Well, you can't attain the 1 seed without somehow coexisting. It worked through the year.
Let me ask you a question. Russ has never been a 1 seed?
A 1 seed?
Yeah, he's never been.
No, with Kevin. Were they a couple times?
So you believe Ben Simmons could be a 1 seed without Joel Embiid? Is that what you're telling me?
All I know is I have it from somebody way up high in the organization. This was about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That they had decided for the long haul that Ben would be more valuable than Joel. And I said, man, I find that hard to believe because I'm a Joel fan. But that's what that organization viewed. That's how they view him because the intangible, the subtleties of his game are so high. You can't find them. It's why he made 3 straight All-Star teams, Rookie of the Year, and 2 first-team All-Defenses. You can't. That doesn't grow on Southern California palm trees.
Subtleties, subplot, subtitles. He's not better than Joel Embiid.
Well, I'm going to agree with you on that, but he's better than Russell Westbrook.
No, he's not.
If I could right now magically transform your team and put Ben Simmons at the point, you'd be much better.
No, we wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
Skip, we got Skip.
How are you going to overcome this whirling dervish that needs to record triple doubles for his own ego's sake?
Well, I ask you the same question. How are you going to overcome a guy that won't shoot the ball outside of the paint? The guy that shot 1 shot in the final 6 games in the 4th quarter. How are you going to overcome that?
Boy, I don't know how they did this. They were the 1 seed with that.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. No. So that was before they got to the playoffs. They were the 1 seed in the regular season. Yeah, they won the most games. They were the 1 seed. Come playoff time, your guy, the 28th best player in the NBA, had 1 shot in the 4th quarter over the last 6 games. 1 shot in the last 6 games.
No mercy.
As Tom Brady and the Bucs travel west to take on the Rams, in America's Game of the Week on Fox, Tampa Bay could be without wideout Antonio Brown. Brown tested positive for COVID-19, leaving his status up in the air for Sunday's showdown. So, Shannon, how big of a loss would this be for Tom Brady?
Skip, I don't believe it'll be a big loss. They signed AB last year, Skip. If something happened to Chris Godwin, AB could step in. Something happened to Mike Evans, AB could step in, and they still would have 2 really good, great receivers. Now that AB's out, I mean, where's AB on? Now, we're not talking about Pittsburgh AB. He's at a different stage, and he's asked to do something entirely different. Now, this is not Arizona being without DeAndre Hopkins. This is not Green Bay being out without Tay Adams. This is a whole different ball game. He's way down the list, Skip, as far as importance of offensive players. Obviously, you go Tom.
Way down the list?
Yes, of importance on offensive players.
God. What Bucs have you been watching?
So is he more important than Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk, the offensive line?
Yes. He's the second most important player. I'll wait until you finish.
As I was saying, You look at the first week, he had, 10 for $120. That's 8 when he was in Pittsburgh. Skip, and he had a sensational game in week 1, and then he follows that up in week 2 where they didn't need him that much. So for me, when I look at it, Skip, I look at this, they still have, there are very few teams that still have, if they lose their third receiver, that's what he is, their third receiver, they still have 2 Pro Bowl receivers that are in their prime. And you can plug Scotty Miller. You like Scotty Miller. You like the Johnson kid.
I love Scotty Miller until AB came midway through the year, and I said, whoops, that's the end of Scotty. I told you, that's it for Scotty Miller.
Yeah, but Skip, they're not going to ask him, can he give them, Scotty, he good for 1 D, but he coming off the bench, Skip, he that guy, the 6-man coming off the bench, light you up right quick, go back to the bench.
End of half at Lambeau versus Packers. What happens? Kevin King.
You remember the Raiders? What did he do right before the half?
Right before the half. Whoops.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what Scotty Miller going to do.
If he can give me one of those Sunday, I'll take it. Just one. End of half.
But also, Skip, he's big on third down. He'll get you a key third down, just like the Johnson kid.
Now you're singing the praises of Scotty Miller.
No. But I'm just saying.
I used to tell you that last year, and you would laugh at me. Scotty Miller.
But all I'm saying is, Skip, is that, look, if this was AB of Pittsburgh, where every week we know AB's going to get 15 targets, we know every week he's going to get between 100 and 120 yards, he's going to give us a tub a game, okay. But, Skip, that's not where he is now. So I don't believe it's going to be that. I don't believe it's going to be the factor that maybe you think it is. Because even if AB was there, I was going to pick them. And even though he's not there, I'm still going to pick them.
Well, I guess so.
Nah.
Yeah, without AB, you're sitting pretty over there.
Hold on.
Way to go, Shannon.
Hold on, don't do that. Don't do that. Because yesterday, I did not know AB had COVID. We didn't know AB had COVID until late this afternoon.
Yesterday, you're scared. Today, you're front running.
I'm scared. I heard already.
And you're trying to poo-poo it. It's no big deal, no big loss. They got all kinds of other baloney.
Let me ask you a question before you go. How scared am I if I bet you 10 cases they're going to lose their next 2 games?
Well, you had one in your back pocket. You got Bill Belichick, the greatest coach ever.
You know it.
Waiting in Foxborough, right?
And I got the boy Jr.
Yeah,
Sean
the boy Jr. Oh, I thought you were going to say Mac Jones. My turn. Shannon Sharpe.
Yes.
When I glanced at my phone yesterday and saw this headline, I was like, God, it happened again. And the painful irony for me is a very high-placed Tampa Bay Buccaneers source told me right before the year started, and I told you right here on the show, that Tampa is viewing this whole season as the year of COVID. Not last year, when obviously everybody's goal was to try to avoid COVID, but at least they were kind of in bubble situations last year where you're kind of staying within your team framework, and now you're free to roam. And the Bucs source told me this will be all about COVID. Who can avoid, who can dodge the COVID bullets all through the year, right?
From key players.
Key players, because every other day we get somebody. Now I got Keanu Neal, my Dallas Cowboy, the safety turn linebacker. COVID. And again, all these guys have a chance, as Randy Gregory had a chance last week to have 2 negative tests. And yet, have you yet heard one guy pass the protocol and get to play? Because once you go on protocol, you're done to me. You're not going to get out of it.
They ain't trying to risk it.
They're not going to risk it. You were done. And the Saints coaching staff, and you can't tell me this didn't have some impact on that game. They lost 5 coaches last week.
Well, they had like 9 out.
9 out.
Skip, you only have 15 coaches, so you'll stay on the sideline like the running back coach might be the receiver coach and help him with special teams.
Okay, so it is the year of trying to dodge COVID. And all of a sudden, the one guy I didn't want to lose is gone to COVID. Antonio Brown has become, or was always, Tom Brady's favorite receiver. He loves to throw the ball to this young man who's now middle-aged, but he still has kid energy about him. And yet, you pointed it up. What happened against Atlanta last week? Tom is genius level. He is actually playing it game by game in his mind, playing chess from this week to next week. He wanted to keep the targets low to Antonio last week against Atlanta because it was a game they should have won. You could argue it's the easiest game on their schedule versus this week is the hardest game, I think, by far on their schedule. I predicted 20-0, but this one looms as this is the roadblock. You have to travel coast to coast, all the way to Los Angeles, to the Super Bowl site to play a team that very well might be the best offense plus defense team in pro football,
you can
right?
make that case, yeah.
If you combine the two units, there's nobody better. Even Kansas City or whoever you want to throw up in there, nobody. Even the Buccaneers aren't quite as good as the Rams on both sides of the ball, right? Okay, so this is a huge clash. This is a showdown, and I believe that Brady was playing chess like, I'm going to save AB's legs against Atlanta, a team we should just crush, and they finally crushed him. It took a while, and he's going to catch only one ball for 17 yards because next week I'm going to feature Antonio because next week I got Jalen Ramsey on Mike Evans, and it's a long, hard game for Mike Evans, right?
Yes.
I mean, in fact, Brady's smart enough to know I can't really even try that very much, even though Mike's pride's going to call from he'll get 5 or 6 targets.
Yeah, you got to throw him some way, Skip. He just can't go out there and just be running some decoy routes.
You can't just ignore him. But I hark back to last November 23rd at Tampa on Monday Night Football. What happened in that game? Antonio Brown caught 8 balls for only 57 yards because they were just playing great defense. But guess how many targets he had in that game? 13 targets. That led the team in targets. 13 targets. And he was fairly newbie to the team. He just joined the team. And Chris Godwin had 10 targets and Mike Evans had 9 versus the Rams a year ago or last year, November 23rd. So this is why I thought that my fire starter was going to be Antonio Brown. That's the guy that they wouldn't have an answer for because you can put him in the slot and you can terrorize them because they lost a couple of their safety and their slot corner went to Cleveland, right? So I'm thinking maybe I got a little advantage there. And so when I bet you on this game, my thoughts, my fantasies go to, wow, I got AB. He might catch 10 or 12 balls in this game because you better because guess what the other guys do? They go crazy against the Buccaneers because look what Cooper Kupp did last year at Tampa. He caught 11 balls for 145, and it seems like every week he catches 11 for 145, and Robert Woods caught 12 for 130 last year at Tampa. The final score was closer than it should have been. It didn't feel like a 27-24 game.
Goff had a couple of turnovers that kept Tampa closer than what they should have been.
He threw 2 picks. He did, but he also threw for 376 and had a QBR of 80 on a scale of 0 to 100. That's a big-time QBR.
Well, considering that you turned the ball over twice and you have an 80, because remember, Skip, the first game, Tom Brady was in the 60s with 2 turnovers.
He was.
This kid was 80 with 2 turnovers.
80, and now you have upgraded to Matthew Stafford, right? You got Matt Stafford bootlegging and dealing, right? And you got Bruce Arians has said recently that the one guy I go out to watch warm up is Matthew Stafford because he can spin the football, right?
Yeah,
you want to talk about arm talent? His arm talent is right up there with Aaron's. I don't know if we go to Mahomes, but it's in the ballpark.
He can do it. He can spin it, Skip.
Correct?
Yeah.
So that's why Shannon Sharpe is sitting up in his seat today because there's no AB. So you got me. You got me. I'm with you.
Hold on. You make it seem like all of a sudden I jumped on the Rams today without AB. I had picked the Rams on Monday, picked them on Tuesday, picked them on Wednesday.
What is Tom Brady's longest pass and longest touchdown pass so far this season? What is it?
It was the AB.
Thank you. Can we see it? 47 yards to AB.
What?
Electric.
It's 22 man. I mean, what you want them to do?
Oh, it's 22 man.
Trail. They play trail. See how they jump? Everybody jump in the back pocket.
Against my Dallas Cowboys, Anthony Brown. Yeah. It's Brown on Brown.
See the trail? They jump in the back pocket.
And zing. Oh, that's sweet. Right on the button for 47-yard touchdown. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The only receiver in this very deep receiving core who can actually run by somebody is Antonio Brown. Right. That's all Scotty Miller can fly, but he's not a big-time starting receiver.
But still, when you think about it, if you go back and look at Brady's career, he's really only had one guy that can run by people.
For a little while. He had him for a little while.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So most of his stuff, Skip, you know how most of his stuff was misdirection. It was the boot. It was the deep over and things of that nature. He's never just had a guy that says, okay, we call it 9 routes. Okay, just run up under.
Okay. Does Chris Godwin threaten the defense deep? No, he doesn't.
That's not what he does.
Mike? No, Mike's 6'5", right?
Right.
Okay.
He's a big body, can
you throw Tyler Johnson. I love Tyler Johnson, but can he threaten you deep? No. Can Cam Brate? Can Gronk? No. Can O.J. Howard? Not really, not deep. Right?
But Tom's like, I don't need you to go deep. Hey, we'll methodically move the ball down the field, and then we'll get in the red zone, and you don't know if we're going to run it because we might run Lenny, we might run Rojo if he's out of the doghouse. But all those little crossing routes, Tom will find a way to get the ball into the end zone. All Tom is trying not to do is turn the ball over. He knows there's a chance now you throw the ball deep, Skip. Hey, bad things could happen. He's like, I like these little under 20-yard routes.
Does he? I like that defense just locking in, just moving up, edging up, getting into the box. You know, that's what that's what you're up against. So I am licking my wounds while you are licking your chops along with those Rams
how much
DBs.
time you thought he was going to have? AD, you know AD, the best defensive player in football, coming. You know he coming. AD coming. Leonard Floyd coming.
Oh, I thought you meant Anthony Davis.
Aaron Donald.
Oh, he's AD now. Yeah, he's an unblockable force. I mean, nobody blocks him. I don't know. A lot of games go by, I don't even know that he's
Don't
out
do
there,
that, Skip.
but I don't know.
He's going to have a chance when it's all said and done to be the greatest defensive player.
He has a chance, according to everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to see, and he'll probably just wreak havoc. and now that he knows that Tom's got to get rid of it quick, he's just going to be flying up in there, just knocking people out of the way, ragdolling people right and left. And it's very possible that my Buccaneers will lose their first game and take the bottom right out of my 20-0 prediction, because this is by far their hardest game, because what's left on their schedule, they got to go to Foxborough.
Oh, yeah. It don't get any harder. It don't get any easier.
It definitely gets a little easier than Rams.
Coach Belichick taught him everything he knows.
And by the way, don't you think Tom has circled at Foxborough as the game he most wants to win? And so, unfortunately, the Rams actually become a trap game for Tom Brady, because he might slightly be thinking ahead to next week, right?
He ain't thinking. He's going to be ready for the Rams.
Okay, so left on this schedule, you got to go to New Orleans, and I haven't figured them out yet. Yeah. They can be great. They can be not so great, right? Then you've got at Washington. That's the team you picked to win the NFC East. At Indy, you love the Colts before the season.
I ain't loving them right now, though.
He says he's off that bandwagon. Buffalo looks like a world beater, and they go to Tampa on December 12th. You think you got Buffalo in that game? You got Tampa losing 4 games.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. Carolina might be more formidable.
I was getting there. You got New Orleans at home, but then 2 of the last 3 games on this schedule are a Carolina nobody really saw coming. And so far, so great for that team. Sam Darnold looks like he's back in some comfort zone. He's got some weapons. He's got some protection. Their defense was underrated. So, again, at Carolina, December 26th, then Carolina at home in the last regular season game, January 9th. Could that be for 20-0? Could be. Could be. We'll see.
Right.
But to me, this is the one at SoFi Stadium.
Okay.
And I don't have AB, and it's
don't
a
do that.
huge
Stop
advantage.
That. Stop.
It's an absurd advantage for you.
When you got to go, you're supposed to say, hey, Chris Godwin, set this one out. Mike Evans, take this one off. I'm the GOAT. Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller, y'all up. Let's go win this game. When you the GOAT, that's what you tell me. Because that's what you tell me about LeBron. LeBron the GOAT, it doesn't matter who else he has. Oh, so it matters. You mean to tell me talent matters even for Tom Brady?
Brady's going to go into this dogfight with one hand tied behind his back.
Oh, don't do that. Skip that. Why you do that?
No, AB. And, you know, AB got his knee cleaned up, and he was running better, and he's been running for 5 years.
Nah, no AB.
I'm done.
I can't even believe.
All right, guys, let's move on to Skip's Cowboys, because they're preparing to play the Eagles on Monday night with first place in the NFC East potentially on the line. And PFF's top-graded rookie, Micah Parsons, isn't shying away from the matchup. And yesterday, the linebacker spoke with reporters about what he expects from himself. Take a listen.
When you got wild bull, you don't just let him pace, you let him run. You know what I mean? So I'm just out there running. If I'm tired, I tell him I'm tired, you know. But when I'm out there, I just want to play. And I would say every quarterback that's on the season is on the hit list. I mean, I want all of them. Herbert was just the guy I had that week. Hurts, he's on the hit list now, too. I look at it be like the Terminator out there.
Shannon, is the rookie talking too much too soon?
No, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that he's earned the right to feel good about himself.
That's a lot of talk.
The way he's played, Skip, especially after last week's performance, he played well. I know what it's like. I was a talker, played good. It didn't matter to me. Good, win, lose, or draw, I'm going to talk.
Did you talk like that pregame?
No, Skip, guys wouldn't. But here's the thing.
You were more of an in-game, post-game.
Right. I'm thinking about what I got to do. But here's the thing. All I'm saying is this. He's getting the praise. He's reading what Pro Football Focus says. He's listening to what Skip and Shannon and all these other talk shows are talking about. Now, I want that same energy. When we start saying, well, Micah Parsons didn't do this and Micah Parsons didn't do that, I don't want to hear the media don't know what they're talking about. I don't want to hear about nobody didn't play the game before because you know that's coming. Everybody loves the praise.
Yep.
When we give them praise and pat them on the back, yeah. But the moment we offer critiques or criticisms, now all of a sudden we don't know what we're talking about. We're haters. We never played the game. So that's all I'm saying. Young man, you've earned the right. After the way you played last week, they said, you know what? We're going to take you out the middle. We're going to put you on the end of the line. Go get the quarterback. Well, don't worry about anything else. We want you to go get the quarterback. However you got to do it. Inside, outside, over the top, spin, do whatever it takes. Just go get the quarterback on the ground, son. So, Skip, I don't have a problem with this talking. I said before coming in, looking at him, watching him at the combine, Skip, I said, it looks to me, what I saw on the field, it looks like what he is. So he projects to be a phenomenal NFL player. Got no problem with it. But just understand what comes along with that brash talk when things don't go your way. That's all I'm saying, young man.
Okay, I would like to remind our audience that the legendary cowboy hater sitting across from me has said many times, too many times on this show, that all the Cowboys do is talk. They never are able to back up their bragging.
But they get it from their owner, so.
Okay, so why aren't you condemning this kid after only 2 NFL games for talking about Terminator and Hit List?
Skip, you don't know what you don't know. He still thinks he's at Penn State, Skip. He don't know. Guys are gonna see. The thing is, Skip, when teams start scheming. See, the really good players, they get schemed for. Right now, they're not scheming for him because they don't really know what he is.
I would agree with that.
But assume you saw what Tom Brady had him spinning around like a rookie, like which he is. When teams start scheming, says, okay, this is the guy that we need to neutralize. We need to come up with schemes that's going to take him out of the game. But right now, Skip, he's just running around like he said. He's a wild bull. Well, when teams find out that you wild and you're willing to overreact to anything that they dangle in front of you, they will take advantage of that.
What did we see in Hard Knocks practices? All of a sudden it's, whoops, he bit. And
exactly.
He has a back coming out of the backfield on a wheel route, and he bit on the up and the fake and go. And
you
then
use
that's
someone's aggressiveness against him. You find somebody that's, he wants to make every play, so he's going to try to, I'm going to knock this, and you're not catching anything. And then, whoop, whoop.
And then you have to walk all the way back to the line of scrimmage with your head down. You got me. You got me.
Exactly.
Okay. Remember what Chase Young said on the field the day that the Washington football team last year clinched the NFC East, and it looked like they were about to play the Buccaneers at home in the playoff game? I want Tom, said Chase Young. Did he get Tom?
He got him.
No, they got him because he was pretty much a disappearing act in that game. He had 1 solo tackle, 2 assisted tackles. He had 0 quarterback hits, obviously 0 sacks, and 0 tackles for loss because they said, oh, you want him? You got us.
They'll neutralize that.
Okay. That's Chase Young.
But, Skip, do you actually think they're going to line him up on the line and says, okay, go rush against Lane Johnson? Lane Johnson is a different animal than what this guy went up against the Chargers.
Okay, now for my take about my guy, Micah Parsons. And you have mixed emotions because he was, quote unquote, your guy before the draft. You said he's the best defensive player on the board.
I did.
Now Jerry's taking credit for, we had him number 1 on our board too, but we wanted a corner. I had no problem with that. I wanted them to draft for need for once because we needed the Bama bookend corner, Patrick Surtain, and your Denver Broncos stole him out from under us at 9 as we were about to pick at 10. Or we would have taken Patrick Surtain.
I believe you would have.
But out of heaven fell number 11. 11 from heaven. He wears 11. It's a weird number for a defensive player. But now every time I look at the screen, I'm looking for 11. Where's he lining up?
That's that Penn State, Lamar Erickson. And I think that's who he wanted to be like when he went to Penn State.
One of our own here at FS1.
He wore number 11, and he was kind of that same guy before he had that injury towards Achilles. He was just like Micah Parsons.
Okay, so now to my opinion of all this talking from this lion. He calls himself, he is a former Nittany Lion, as you point out, but he calls himself a lion. I loved my team on Hard Knocks because I thought my team needed Hard Knocks. It needed to be back on the stage because last year took a lot out of my team. It lost swagger. It lost lost confidence. It lost self-belief.
Right.
They weren't acting like Dallas Cowboys anymore because they were getting run off the football field by Cleveland at home, 307 yards rushing. On a Thursday night at Baltimore, 294 rush yards against my team. Are you kidding me? Kyler Murray and company at Jerry World on Monday Night Football. I'm humiliated. Tail between my legs. They rushed for 261 yards. That ain't happening anymore. And I loved Hard Knocks because it put America's team back on a stage it had to live up to. Did it bring out a lot of ego? I think healthy ego. And it was led by number 11 from heaven, Micah Parsons.
Okay.
He is a big talker, but I also sense within him some humility. I saw some humility. He was with DeMarcus Ware, the great Bronco and obviously the great Cowboy, learning techniques. And it felt like he had humbled himself to be in the presence of a great player. And teach me, show me, I'm all ears, right? I'm not too good for you. I don't need you, right?
But I think the thing is, Skip, and the reason why he's talking, you have to understand he's a rookie. Me as a player, I was expected to do what I was doing. He's a rookie, and to come in and play like this, and he's really playing out of position because he's a stand-up, he's a middle backer, and they put him on the edge and says, you know what, just do this. And he did it. I mean, how many guys, guy that's never played the tight end, he's played it, but he says, you know what, we're going to move you to tight end for this game because the linebackers can't cover. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And then the guy goes out there and performs phenomenally. And that's what he did, Skip. He's a rookie, and he's playing exceptionally well. You can make a case he's one of the two best defensive players they have, he and Tavon Diggs, on the defense currently.
I think he's actually the most valuable player already on my defense. I think it feeds off his energy.
Right, even when D-Law and Gregory gets back, he's still one of the premier.
I'm hoping Gregory is back off the COVID list.
So even he's still one of the premier defensive players on that unit.
So back to the question. I don't have any problem with him talking because I truly believe, from what I've seen, it's a small sample size, but I think it's big enough, he can back it up. He's already backed it up. And I campaigned, I beat the table over here on Friday, line him up at the right end or whichever, line him up anywhere in the line, let him put his hand in the proverbial dirt. That's what I campaigned for. And he wreaked havoc. I say keep him on the edge because it keeps the opponent on edge on offense, because where is he coming from? He's got some Von Miller. He's got some bend in him. He's got explosion. He's got natural strength and supernatural quickness. So it's a combination that's rare. You can't find it because the Von Millers, they're like generational.
They don't grow on trees.
They don't. And I think he's got that in him. So to me, when you put him, they originally said he's our new middle backer. Well, are you sure about that? Because he's see ball, chase ball. And sometimes at that position, you need somebody who's a little more cerebral in that you have to be a film studier and you have to key and watch or you'll get taken advantage of.
Exactly, Skip, because he might be a better edge rusher. He might be better in the lines of a T.J. Watt, Von Miller, as opposed to a Luke Kuechly, Ray Lewis, because the aggressiveness, they'll use that against you. They'll show you something that you think it actually is, and they'll use your aggressiveness. Now, here you are out of the picture, and it's running something in behind you. So you might be right. He might be better suited as a stand-up guy on the line of scrimmage. But the question is, Skip, you got to find, he needs to be on the field all the time. So he's your starter. Now, if you put him there, it looks like Keanu Neal is a starter. So now that means Wolf Hunter or Jalen Smith, one of those guys got to go to the bench because you play a 43.
Well, now you're the deepest at Micah's position. So I'm good with that because he needs a new position, which is edge rusher.
Because Basham is an edge rusher too, right?
Well, he can play inside also. But yeah.
I don't think he's big enough to play DT.
Okay, but the point is Gregory's back, but D-Law won't be back until, I don't know, mid-year something.
Yeah, but I don't know, Skip. I don't know if you really want Micah Parsons dealing with Lane Johnson, because that's fine and good if it's a pass rush. But what happens when he put his hand in the dirt and he got to hold up against 300-pound Lane Johnson on the run?
You know what? I hear you, and I respect Lane. We've had him on the show. I think this kid is so gifted that the great thing about sports is you can talk all you want if you can flat out do it, if you can back it up. like the great Dizzy Dean, the pitcher, the old pitcher used to say, it ain't bragging if you can do it.
Right.
Well, that's this kid.
Right.
And I think he would find a way around or through Lane Johnson at some point.
Well, he might get it. He's going to get his chance on Monday night.
He will get his chance.
Because guess, like we hear him talking, guess who else hear him? The opposing team.
Okay.
Those old linemen.
Yeah. But every once in a while, those vets go to the post-game locker room and they tell the media, you know what? He's that good, right?
Yeah, oh, he's good. He's good. There's no question about it. He's legit. But
Terminator.
As we go further along, you know, you've been around this game long enough.
I have. Usually, you should keep it to yourself.
Yeah. They gonna make sure you get your comeuppance.
I agree.
No mercy.
Anthony Davis has put in, quote, a lot of work this offseason, according to Frank Vogel. The Lakers head coach then took it a step further as he said the all-star big man looks physically imposing. With LeBron and the Lakers gearing up for a title run, Vogel is certainly implying AD is ready to take on more of the load. So, Shannon, how much do you love that Vogel said this?
Love this. Love what I saw. Just got married the other day. Now his life is, oh, man, this is in here. Now he got a wife, got kid, got family to settle down, ain't no outside distractions. It's over. It's over.
Did you go to the wedding?
Nah, I ain't make it. As you know, I'm trying to work on my own thing, trying to get my own wedding in order. Yeah, look, I love this. I don't realize, I think some people do. AD should be what KD is. Skip, when you look at talent, a guy that can shoot the three, that can shoot the mid-range, can post, can handle the ball, put the ball on the floor, get to the rim, finally be going to make 85% of his free throws. That's what AD is. That's what AD should be. I demand AD says, I'm going to be the MVP this year. That's what he should be. 28, 10, 2.5, 3 blocks a night, 2 or 3 assists. That's what he should be. That's what he's capable of doing. I saw it in the playoffs. I saw it. I saw it in his first year in L.A. He was 26-9. I know what AD is. He just needs to be that on a nightly basis. And what AD has to understand is that for so long he was in New Orleans and nobody really gave a damn. Yep. AD can drop 50 one night and then come back and drop 20 and everybody cool with that. But you can't do that in the Lakers uniform because the bigs have been too good for too long. From Micah to Chamberlain to Kareem to Shaq to Powell to you now, the bigs got to be big. Nightly, on a nightly basis. You play for the Lakers. And that's what they expect. I expect Anthony Davis to look like he did in his first year with the Lakers. I expect him to play like he did in the playoffs for the Lakers. Y'all in trouble.
Who's y'all?
Anybody not named the Lakers.
Okay, is it my turn?
Your
Thank
turn.
you. When did Frank Vogel turn into Micah Parsons? Because that's how this came across, right?
You know Frankie V.
Maybe it's the marriage thing. I didn't know anything about that. But here's the point. The other quote that really got me, just hit me right between the eyes is, and again, he's preaching to the choir because he's talking to Allie Clifton on Sports Spectrum, the Laker Network.
Yeah.
So he's full of himself and full of excitement for next year.
Yeah.
What wasn't last year could be next year, right? And he said once he took one look at AD and saw how he had buffed up and he'd been working on his own at home, this is the first time he actually laid eyes on him, he said he turned to his assistants and said, man, we're going to be really good.
Yeah.
That's Frankie V saying we're going to be really good.
Like 60 and 22 good.
Or maybe I should call him Micah, because this is like Micah Parsons stuff, right? Really good?
Yes.
When has he ever said anything like that? Because this is the one coach in the NBA who works not to say anything because his team speaks for him. He tries to undercut the hype and the color and pageantry of the Los Angeles Lakers.
You undersell and over-deliver.
Right? Is that what he does?
That's what we do. But right now, Skip, we just can't contain this. The harvest is bountiful.
Okay, here's what I cannot get through my little tiny brain.
What?
Is that on a daily basis, I have to sit over and hear how LeBron James, the king, is the best player on the planet. Not Kevin Durant, not even Giannis. Yeah. It's still LeBron James.
Okay.
Going into year, what are we into?
19.
30 or something?
You know what it is. You know what it is.
It feels like 30. But going into year 19, Shannon Sharpe across from me still says he's the best player on the planet. Yet, when Frankie V says he's imposing, AD, all of a sudden, it sounds like Anthony Davis is more valuable than LeBron James.
No, see, there you go. See
well,
you
that's what you just said.
No,
you said he's going to be MVP.
I said I demand that he demands that from himself. Skip, how can you say LeBron has always been physically imposing? Hell, when he walked in the gym at 18 years old, they say this is a grown-ass man. He 18, he a kid.
I didn't hear Frankie V say, I saw LeBron on Instagram, and man, is he imposing.
When has LeBron not looked imposing? He's always been Karl Malone. Check Karl Malone's body.
He's a little different now. He's got some love handles.
No, he got no love handles. Don't do that, Skip. No, don't try to do that.
I mean, you know, he drinks his wine, he smokes his cigars. He's aging gracefully.
No,
right?
But to be able to take that pounding, he don't need to be all ripped up like his uncle. Put a little extra pounds on so you can handle that pounding. Because, like he said, he might play the 4 a little bit more often than he played it in the past. So we need a little extra cushion. But don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry your pretty little head over there.
Okay, well, my little head is worried about who is the most valuable Laker right here, right now. I need to know from you.
It doesn't matter.
I need an answer. Is it LeBron or is it the suddenly imposing Anthony Davis? Who's the most valuable?
Doesn't matter, Skip.
Shannon Sharpe says Anthony Davis.
Skip.
I heard MVP.
No, Skip, I said he should demand that. Look, when we tried out there, we can probably try out there. DJ, AD, Bron, Russ. I don't care who you put at the thing at the 2. Skip. That's how
Wayne Ellington.
That's how. Think about it, Skip.
It has come to this for the Lakers. Your 2 guards, Wayne Ellington, from Kobe Bryant to Wayne Ellington.
Skip,
really?
You make it seem like the Lakers always had. Look, they had B. Russ. So it was good. Don't you worry. Why you worried about that? Ain't nobody trying to beat Kobe. Ain't nobody can beat Kobe. Ain't nobody in the NBA. Ain't nobody else got a 2 guard that's Kobe.
You're the biggest Laker fan, and you're not even sure who the 2 guard is.
Skip.
Isn't that trouble?
No, it's not trouble. But see, when we have that big lineup, if you look at how they won the championship, how did they do? They pounded the Miami Heat. How did the Milwaukee Bucks?
The Miami Heat were the 5th seed in the East.
Okay.
They had lost Dragic, and they lost Bam in Game 1.
Okay, Milwaukee. They pounded Phoenix on the glass. Do you know the Lakers pounded Miami on the glass by a bigger margin than what? So with that being said, that's what you
when there's no Bam, there's no hope.
Okay, but I'm just saying,
chance.
We go big. That 3-point shooting. Oh, everybody, you didn't shoot the 3. Shoot the 3. The last 2 NBA champions did not shoot the 3 very well. They were a big team. They played big, and they dominated the offensive glass. They dominated the glass, and they challenged things at the rim. Giannis wasn't giving up anything cheap. DJ, Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, you will not get anything cheap.
Well, I can tell you this. You are not going to be a high percentage 3-point team because you got LeBrick over there. I think he's at the 2 or 3. And you got Westbrook at the point guard. Yikes.
Layup.
Yeah. Layup?
Layup, dunks, mid-range.
Really? And furthermore, Frankie V, I'm looking at your roster and I'm saying, man, you're going to be really good, but you're going to be really new because how can you even predict? Because not only do you have a new point guard named Russell Westbrook, yikes, that's trouble in itself.
No, it ain't.
Well, he only led the league in turnovers.
That's
also assists, but turnovers.
Yeah, think about that.
Okay, and now you throw in Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah.
DJs and DeAndre Jordan, the reject of the Brooklyn Nets. They rejected him. You said, we got to have him. Trevor Ariza, once a Laker, now a Laker, but way past his prime, right? Wayne Ellington, aforementioned.
3-and-D guy.
Kent Bazemore and Malik Monk.
3-and-D.
New.
Hold up.
How do you know how it's going to work?
Hold up. That's why we go into Vegas for 3 days to put this plan of action and put this plan of action to work before we come to camp. So we'll have a great idea of how things work, how things are going to fit.
Team bonding in the club. Right?
There ain't no team bonding in the club.
That's what you're going to do.
What long as we get that practice in? Are we going to get that practice in?
I doubt
Are we going to get that work in?
I don't know. Maybe for 15 or 20 minutes.
No, don't worry about that. Don't worry about what I do.
And then everybody can post a video of, look how we're putting that work.
Sweating. You know, look, I ain't even worried about that. They know what the stakes are, Skip. You always try to put us down.
We're going to be really good, said Frankie Micah V. Right?
Are they? So what are you expecting? What do you think expected? 42-40?
No.
I mean, okay then.
All I care about is the postseason, and that's when it will manifest
Okay, I want you to keep that energy.
Yes.
So when the Lakers lose,
I will have huge energy.
So when the Lakers lose a game in the regular season, I don't want to hear nothing about they lost. I can't believe GOAT lost to this because you don't care about anything but the postseason.
accept trends, you can see what's starting to happen.
Well, I guess where we're trending. Guess what? We got a new invention coming out. We Apple. We got a new invention coming out, and the stock's climbing.
What do you want to bet that Russell Westbrook leads the Lakers in usage rate? Want to bet?
What do you want to bet the Lakers lead?
Every year it's always LeBron James, but this year he's going to have to defer to Russell Whirling Dervish.
How about this? How about we lead the West in victories? How about you want to bet on that?
I wouldn't bet against it. You well might.
Ain't no well might.
And then all of a sudden, it's going to be showtime, quote unquote,
That's
for
what we do.
Russ
That's
in
what
the
we do.
postseason.
Word
Because
of
he
Derby.
is the only born and raised Laker fan on this team. He is the one and only Laker fan, and he believes this is now his team, his moment, his time to shine. He's even got a Chopra doc coming out, right?
Oh, you got the Sun. Is it the Sun?
It's the Sun.
Okay.
Gotham.
But, Skip, you do realize, I don't know how the term whirling dervish came to be bad. You do realize that these are turkeys, they're praying, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I wonder how that got to be a bad thing. I know it's unorthodox, and they can do this for hours. I wonder how. I can spin around like 2 times, and I'm drunk.
I know, but when you whirl and dervish on the basketball court, you turn ball over, and he leads the league in turnovers. Four times second.
Like Chris Paul called himself the point guard. That's what he is.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, LeBron, the GOAT, as you say, quote unquote, always needs a scapegoat. And now,
there you go.
Now I'm wondering, is it going to be Russ or is it going to be AD? Because now you're putting AD on the hottest seat. You're saying he should be the MVP.
No, I said I want him to take that upon himself to say I want to be the MVP. I didn't say he should. I want him to have that. I want him to be like he was in New Orleans, where he was giving me 28 and 12. That's the kind of respect I want him to have.
Is he going to be the MVP?
Probably Giannis.
Probably Giannis?
Yeah.
I thought you were all in on this
But
team.
Skip, I think it's really hard, not to say it can't be done, but it's really hard. I mean, when's the last time you got to go back to LeBron in what, 2013? Got the MVP with a big three? They normally like, hold on, bro, it's 3 of y'all. You should have numbers.
Well, you just said MVP to start this off.
Yeah,
and now all of a sudden you're back on Giannis.
But I want him to think that. I don't want him to I'm just a part. No, you the part. I want you to be thinking you the part.
Okay.
That's what I want him to think.
So he's going to think he's the MVP, but he's not going to win.
And play like it.
Play like the MVP, but not win the MVP.
That's on Skip, I ain't got no vote.
Really
That's on Chris Broussard. That's on the other guys that vote. You got a vote?
No.
I already know you wouldn't vote for it.
I'm going to vote for Braun. I always vote for
There you
Braun.
go. You a hater. You just can't get it. You just can't get that out. You just got to hate that man. But that's all right. He might win it.
Yep. What happens in Vegas better stay there.
Skip, we practicing.
Yeah.
We try to get work in. That's all we try to do, get that work in.
Really?
Yeah. I might catch him down there. Where y'all headed down there, fella? Hit your boy up.
I'll go with you, Shannon. There's one thing that I do know is I cannot wait for the Superstar Lake Show team.
Superstar.
Lakers.
No mercy.
Fox Bet Super 6 is giving you one last chance to win $1 million. Enter now and correctly pick the outcome of 6 Sunday NFL games for your last shot to win $1 million of Terry Bradshaw's money. Scan the QR code on the screen, download the app, and play for free. Now, Lamar Jackson earned the victory with his go-ahead touchdown to help the Ravens beat the Chiefs. He certainly didn't earn points for the landing as he trooped into the end zone despite feeling sore after the flip. Lamar said, quote, "I'd probably do it again, though." So, Shannon, are you okay with Lamar flipping into the end zone?
Skip, I'm fine. Guys are human beings, Skip. This is an emotional game. Now, remember now, they're 0-3 against Kansas City. He knows who's on the other side. And he's just giving his team a lead against a team that many think is going to be the representative for the AFC again in the Super Bowl. And Patrick Mahomes is on the other side. And they had us down by, 11 points. And here we are, come all the way back in the fourth quarter, and we now have the lead. And so that was just the emotion pouring out of it. But you also have to understand, this is the Ravens. Skip, play like a Raven. Play hard, play physical, play fast. And they let them be themselves. They're not trying to say, well, this is what you need to do it, and this is how such and such did it. They let you be you. There's not a whole lot of people, unless you've actually been in that locker room, which I had. I like to think some of the culture that permeates out of that locker room now, myself, Rod Woodson, some of the older guys, the Gooses, the Rob Burnett's, had something to do with that and passed that on down to Ray. And Ray took it to Ed Reed and Suggs and all these other guys. So I know what's in that locker room and the mentality. Just play. Play hard, but have fun while you're doing it. That's what Brian Billick always like, okay, y'all doing all this talking during the week. Now, you know we got to play on Sunday. We got this. He's talking too. He's going back and forth with Jeff Fisher or whomever the coach that wants to get into a shouting contest with him. So for me, Skip, I'm not surprised. And John Harbaugh said, he was in the end zone. Ain't got no problem with it. Me, no, that's not what I'm doing. Those falls hurt, Skip. And you know who I fought for this tumbling into the end zone? Reggie Bush. Because nobody was really tumbling into the end zone until Reggie Bush started doing that year he won the Heisman. And he was somersaulting and tumbling into the end zone. And ever since then, guys been tumbling into the end zone. So, Reggie, I fought you.
We'll have Reggie on the show pretty soon. You can tell him to his face. Okay. Bottom line to this discussion is I have supported Lamar on this show harder than you have. You've had some issues with his consistent accuracy and ability to throw the football, and I'm all in on Lamar.
Right.
I was not all in on this backflip at this moment in this game. This was the game on the schedule. This is the one he had to win. I said on Friday, he will win this one. And he'll just do it on sheer guts. He's got as competitive a football backbone as any quarterback I've ever seen. He will just figure out a way. If he has to run through your brick wall, he'll do it. And finally, in the end, he had to run through the brick wall to get the yard to save to end the game. This backflip occurred with 3:14 left. And I immediately tweeted, Lamar, it's just too soon. And furthermore, it wasn't executed very well because he hit hard.
He did,
I mean, that is potential. I'm sure it's big, deep bruised, and it's potential to hurt your hip or break a bone. Didn't he? He came down hard.
I definitely I don't recommend it.
No.
Now, if you got Tyreek ability, you can do a black flip and land on your feet, Skip.
That was sweet. I'm about to get to that one in just a moment. But I thought John Harbaugh co-signed with gritted teeth, like kind of grudgingly gave into it because he said he didn't see it when it happened. And then he said his wife told him about it. And then he said, then I heard his hip hurt. And I'm like, I'm not surprised. Well, that's a barely co-sign because he finally said, as long as you hold on to the ball and as long as it results in a touchdown, I'll be okay with it. Now back to Tyreek's backflip against the Buccaneers to put them up 17-0 at Tampa, as you recall, about 2/3 through the season last year, just before the Bucs went on their fateful bye week, 17-0 late in the first quarter, and Andy Reid said after the game, I told him I don't like it. I would rather you come over here. If you want to come to behind the bench and backflip.
It's too late.
It's too late. It's out of sight.
Exactly.
Okay, but that's what Andy Reid said. If we could see that, if we haven't already, the Tyreek backflip, when he is cooking a team like I've never seen anybody cook a team. This went for 44 yards and a touchdown. Just made him look silly. And, yeah, he can really backflip. He is a gymnast at heart, right? He's got gymnast in him. That's why he's so great. But the point is, I believe that play right there, that backflip, was the beginning of the end of the Chiefs. I believe that play launched the Buccaneers to where they got to overwhelm the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And you can't tell me all week through the Super Bowl buildup that they didn't talk about he backflipped on us and we got to get even. Because you remember that Antoine Winfield Jr., the young safety, he peace signed him, and got a 15-yard flag on.
You know what? I believe that's when the taunting thing, because you got an audience of 100 million people. That was because Skip, black, they've been flipping and they've been doing, they've been all this talking the whole while.
I got it. But again, that was payback. So I had no problem with Antoine Winfield because it's like, you got us and I'm going to get you back right here because we are about to end this right here. Skip, and we won the game that mattered.
Think about it. How many times that what did Pringle do when he scored a touchdown? He did the Ray Lewis dance. Do you know how many guys did the Ray Lewis dance when they scored a touchdown in Baltimore? Yeah. That was the thing. But Ray understood that. You don't want him to do the Ray Lewis dance? Don't let him score.
Okay, I get that. But as the face of the franchise, as the franchise quarterback, I didn't want to see Lamar backflip yet. There's a place for it,
right.
But it's more of a walk-off place. It needs to, because, again, he banged up his hip, and they're going for 2 because you need to cash in the 2 to make it a 3-point game.
That made it 36. Skip, but at the time, he got so much adrenaline.
I understand.
He feeling pain.
Okay, but that made it 36-35.
Right.
And it was Baltimore up by a point. And as you said, they'd come all the way back from 11 down in the third quarter, which is almost impossible when you, quote unquote, can't throw, when you don't have a passing offense.
Right.
But they did it by running the football. Right. They literally ran back into the game.
Right.
But I'm going to remind you, they missed the 2-point try, so now it's a 1-point game. And here comes my homeboy, boom, 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 right down the field, and they get it all the way
34.
to 2nd and 3 at the 32. It was at the 32-yard line with 1 minute and 25 seconds left, and Edwards-Helaire got stripped. Okay, if that doesn't happen, they're already in field goal range.
Yeah, we probably having a different discussion.
I'm pretty sure we are. And then you'd look back at the flip and you'd say, I don't know. It wasn't great.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. I don't believe that flip would have been. See, Skip, I would agree with you. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, they called taunting, and they added 15 yards at the kickoff. So now they're going to get the ball, and so they're going to be even closer. Now I would say, you know what? Because we've seen that, Skip. Guys get in college, guys get unsportsmanlike conduct or something like that. It's a 15 yards. Now the team is closer. They get a field goal, and you walking out. Now, but they didn't call taunting, so it was a normal kickoff. So I get it. It'll be like, yeah, you did that flip.
Well, it wasn't taunting because there was nobody around. He got him. You know, he faked him completely out. So he was solo going into the end zone.
Well, I don't know if flipping in the end zone is not taunting a team.
Well, it is. It's taunting the whole defense. Right. Okay.
And now, but they still say, well, we'll let you. If you get an interception, Skip, you can jet down to the other end of the end zone and take your photo together. But that's not taunting either.
Well, okay, it's a mixed message because all the celebrations are just fine. You can't aim them at the opponent, right? And you can't stand over a fallen opponent. And,
I get that.
Do this.
I get that. Okay. Well, Zeke can't do this no more because that's taunting, Skip.
Well, is it?
Yeah.
Well, does he do it to a defender? No, he does it up to the cameras, right?
Well, if I'm somebody and I see Zeke get a long run, I'm going to run right next to him. And if you start doing that, hey, you see what he did? He taunting.
Okay.
But Skip,
you might have something there.
But I think the thing is, Andy, although John Harbaugh was the special teams coach under Andy, they got 2 different philosophies, Skip. They got 2 different teams. The Ravens, that's a whole different type of situation.
Okay, do you think Tyreek looks back and regrets that backflip? No. Okay, well, it set off the Bucs. Well, it literally launched them.
No, what launched them was the 5 new offensive linemen that they had in the Super Bowl that couldn't block Shaq Barrett and our defensive line.
I don't know.
Skip, we've seen everybody's throwing for almost over 300 yards against them now. Now they got 2 sacks. I think they got 2 sacks in 2 games. A team that was sacking everybody. Now they got 2 sacks in 2 games.
Bucs paid them back.
Y'all at the end of the day, you win.
Here's the bottom line to Lamar. He's not a gloater. Like Shannon Sharpe was a gloater after the game, like, we got you. Yeah. We rubbed it in on you. Yeah. And Lamar, after the game, it was the perfect I told you so moment. Like, I got him back. I finally beat him. Right. Because he said, I got the monkey off my back. Right. Whatever.
Yeah, but it's September. You don't get monkeys off your back in September.
Well, bingo. I agree. But after the game, Lamar was, like, humble to a fault. He wouldn't take any credit.
Yeah, but Skip, that's the quarterbacks. I ain't no quarterback. I'm trash talking.
Okay.
I'm gloating.
All right.
Absolutely. I'm gonna let the quarterback take the high road. That was a tough team over there. That was a hard-fought victory. Nah, we beat them bums. They did all that talking all week long, and now look at them.
But Lamar pulls off what I would call a Shannon Sharpe memorial sort of hot dog show-off move. He backflips into the end zone. Doesn't really pull it off, but again, it was that kind of move that's like, wow, you did that?
Yeah, but Lamar looking at it like, I already did the move. I don't need to say anything else about it. I don't need to gloat in the locker room and say, yeah, I told y'all we was going to win. Hey, the move speak for itself. It was a hard-fought victory. You know, hey, we won. But he did, like you said, Skip, it's only one game. He's right. It's only one game. But it was the most important game this weekend.
It was. And it will loom as the most important game for that team all year.
No mercy.
after Ben Simmons didn't dunk down the stretch of the 76ers Game 7 loss to the Hawks in the playoffs last season, his coach Doc Rivers made some waves after a reporter asked him a pointed question post-game. Here's a reminder for you. Take a listen.
Doc, do you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
So now that Simmons reportedly wants out of Philly, Rivers said yesterday that those original comments were misrepresented, also adding, quote, "This is what makes our job hard." It actually, when the guy asked him, "I'm not answering that stuff right now," it's amazing how things get started and just takes on a life of its own. So Shannon, do you believe there's any truth to what Doc is saying here?
No. Doc, we just heard you. The guy asked you a question. Doc, do you believe Ben Simmons can be your point guard on a championship-winning team like you want to become? No, I don't know if I can answer that right now. How did we misconstrue what you said? Are we supposed to believe you or my lying ears, Skip? That's what I need to know. Am I supposed to believe Doc Rivers or my lying ears? Because I know what I heard. And then you want to turn around and talk about they misconstrued what you said. No, you said what you said. That's why in the moment, Doc, you've been at this too long. That's why when emotions are high, logic is low. Skip, one of the things, I've been to therapy, in couples therapy. The one thing they tell you is that you don't argue to hurt. Because you got to be careful when you say something, Skip. You mad, you blurt out anything. And the other person going to look at you and say, oh, that's how you feel, huh? Oh, you spoke your heart. You upset. Skip, Doc was upset in that moment because remember, another 3-1 lead had evaporated.
Yep.
And who's had the most 3-game come from behind being up 3-1 and lose? Doc. And it's not even close. So he's emotional. And he's like, damn, I just watched Ben Simmons not even take one shot in the final 6 fourth quarters, had a layup that would have put us up, a dunk. That's Trae Young, and he passed it. So, no, Doc, ain't nobody misconstruing. And what makes your job hard is when you don't win. That's what makes your job hard. Because when you win, Skip, Phil Jackson had an easy job. Coach Auerbach had an easy job because they won. It's when you don't win, when you are expected to win, when you got the 2 best players, you got Joel Embiid, you got Ben Simmons, and an 8 seed take you down when you're up 3-1. That's the problem.
Yep.
So for me, Skip, Doc should have just said, hey, I apologize, I'm sorry, and maybe he did that behind closed doors. But you can't come out here in public and say you were misquoted or you were misconstrued. We misconstrued what you said. You said what you said. You said you don't know if Ben Simmons can be the starting point guard on a championship-winning team. That's what you said. There's nothing to misconstrue about that, Skip.
Okay, I hear everything you just said, and there's much logic in what you said and little emotion. I do agree that part of Doc was blame deflecting and protecting because he did crater once again, and that was 2 straight years and on top of his track record.
Right. Yeah, with the Clippers. Remember when the Clippers, they was up on Houston, 3-1.
They were. We get that. I do like Doc. So maybe I'm going to overreact to this, but I think there's some truth to his contention that he was actually trying to dodge that question instead of answer it. And he answered poorly because his answer could certainly be interpreted to mean what you think it meant.
Right.
Is that, no, you're interpreting it as a big, giant, no, we can't win with him as our point, or whatever the question was. Yeah.
Championship winning team.
Okay. So he says, I actually said when the guy asked, guys, I'm not answering that stuff right now. But to your point, it comes across like he is, but he never flat out states, we just can't win with Ben Simmons in that position.
Yeah, if I ask you,
he just said, I don't know the answer to that, which could mean that he was trying not to answer the question and it came across as a dodging negative answer.
Well, how about this? Instead of saying no, how about saying, guys, I don't know if I can answer that, which is still going to be Ben Simmons. The way you should have answered it, Of course. Yes, we're disappointed.
Every time through the playoffs he'd been asked that same question, he'd gone over the top to defend Ben Simmons.
Thank you. Just like when they ask him, are you Doc, is there going to become a time that you're going to have to take Ben Simmons out of the game in the fourth quarter?
We got angry about it.
Thank you.
And he questioned the IQ of the basketball IQ of the questioner.
That's all you. Just keep it going along those lines, Doc. You can't say, no, I don't know if I can answer that right now. You said no. You can't say no, and then I don't know if I can answer that right now. You said no. You should have said, look, we're all upset that we lost. Give credit to Nate McMillan. He had a very good team. The Atlanta Hawks are to be commended because they played very well. Yep. But when you said no, I don't know if I can answer that. Skip,
he didn't say no. He just said, I don't know if I can answer that. That you're interpreting was a no.
Skip, even if you say, I don't know if I can answer that, that's still the wrong answer. That's Ben Simmons, who's an all-star and who's an all-NBA player. And you don't know if you can win a championship with him as your point guard?
He answered badly.
Yes.
He did. He opened the door for misinterpretation to the point of interpretation.
But guess who took it badly? That guy.
Oh, did he?
That's who took it badly.
Like Bridgeburn.
Yeah, forget what me and you and I think.
Over and out.
Yes.
Like, I ain't coming to camp. I'm done with you, right?
Skip, and he told you. You had a meeting with him. He told you he didn't want to play there anymore. He didn't want to be in Philly anymore.
Yeah. Okay, to Doc's credit, he did call the impromptu media session the following day to try to clarify that remark. You can call it spin control, damage control, whatever. But that little media session came and went, and all of his explanation went in one ear and out the other because all that remained was that answer in the post-game press conference, right? And it did take on a life of its own because it sent Ben Simmons completely over the edge out the door for good.
Yes.
That's why it took on a life of its own, because he made it a life of its own.
Skip, everybody, when you go to camp, and I think all the teams do it now, they said, take time to calm down after a game. Take 15, take 20, take 30 minutes.
How many times have I been left outside a locker room and name the sport 45 minutes, an hour, because they need a cooling off period, right?
Skip,
and my deadline is approaching. I'm like, give me a break.
Yes.
We need to cool off. It would always take Michael Jordan at least an hour, but he wanted to get dressed and ready for camera.
Right.
He wanted to present his best public side to the camera.
Do you know how many times I want to go out there and say, well, he sucked.
Yeah.
He couldn't block nobody. He couldn't catch. He couldn't tackle. He couldn't defend. But it was always, we didn't play well. Give those guys credit over there. They get a check also. So we need to do a better job of blocking. We need to do a better job of catching. We need to do a better job of that. Because Skip, no matter how I come back and try to explain what I meant, it's never going to have the same veracity as what I said originally. And what Doc is finding out, what you said immediately after the game, now you done had like, man, I really messed that one up. Yeah, you did.
So back in the day, the great Texas E. Schramm, who was the original architect of my Dallas Cowboys, decided that he wanted a locker room situation across the hall in what became an interview room that a lot of teams now deploy, right? And the point was, I can't remember what year, this is 85-ish maybe, and women reporters were going in the locker room, and Coach Landry did not like it because he didn't want his players dressing in front of, you know, being undressed or in various stages of undress, right? So they just said, let's take everything across the hall. And all of us, men and women reporters, said no, because we're losing the emotion of the moment at the locker. Because that's when they spill. You know, that's when you might spill.
They take it off their pads, and they're going to be honest with you. They knew
they're going to let it fly.
Right. Because Coach Landry, if he goes first, it's going to take him 15, 20 minutes. That's enough time to calm down. So all of a sudden, guys are being able to gather their thoughts and what they originally would have said to Skip Bayless or whomever at that locker. Now they're in front of the...
Because once you take an hour for them to dress and calm completely down and walk across the hall and sit up on a podium in front of everybody, all bets are off. Now you've come back to where you're into player speak.
Because guess what? When you're at that locker, it's normally it's one-on-one. They feel comfortable. They feel like it's because you know who to go to. You know exactly who to go to get what you want. And so They feel comfortable. Now, if I'm sitting up, I'm like, oh, all y'all here. Okay, now I need to. I need. Hey,
I got to be on my best behavior now.
Yeah, it was a very tough game. I mean, that team played very, very well over there.
I used to go to the great Nate Newton, and he would just spill. He would just fill my notebook.
Yeah.
He would just let it fly.
But Doc Skip, ain't no misrepresentation.
Yep.
Doc has been at this for 20 plus years. Doc knows how to give the coach feel. You just say because even when you say, I don't know how to answer that, Skip, that's still the wrong answer.
Yep. That one remark, pro or con, however you parse it out, it is now threatening to destroy the franchise.
Right.
That's how critical that one remark is to Doc Rivers.
Skip, when Coach Belichick, when they said Tom had the thing, and Coach said it wasn't open heart surgery.
It wasn't exactly open heart surgery. 12 stitches in the palm of his throwing hand.
Theoretically, Coach Belichick was right. It was not open heart surgery. But the way Tom is going to perceive that and how others are going to perceive that, you could have said, yeah, I commend Tom. That was, to have stitches in your throwing hand and have to go out there and throw a football. Tom did a great job. That's what he could have said. That's not what he said. So what he said, Tom took it as a slight. Everybody took it as a slight.
Yeah, but Tom didn't go so far as to say, you know what? I ain't playing for that guy anymore. He can go get another quarterback. Take him to the Super Bowl.
But you know what? You know what he did say? First chance I get to get up out of here, see ya.
Yep, he did.
he packaged it all in. He's like, okay.
No mercy.
Now, Tom Brady's 5-touchdown outing earned him the top spot on the latest QB Index ratings. In addition, the 44-year-old earned Air Player of the Week honors for the second straight week. So, Shannon, has Brady been the best quarterback in the league so far this season?
No, he has not. Through his first 2 weeks, Derek Carr has been the best quarterback in the NFL. Derek Carr leads the league in passing yards. His completion percentage is higher than Tom's. His yards per attempt is higher than Tom. He has fewer turnovers than Tom. He has the same number of 20-yard plays as Tom. He's been better. Is he a better player? No. This is not a career achievement award. This is not what Tom, the MVPs and the Super Bowls and all that, the playoff wins. This is about the 2 games through the season. Derek Carr has been better. Kyler Murray has also been better than Tom Brady. Derek Carr beat the Ravens, who just beat the Chiefs. Derek Carr beat Buffalo, and who beat the Steelers, who beat Buffalo. Tom Brady's beating Dallas and Atlanta. What's the over-under Dallas wins total this year? 5? Probably less. Kyler Murray, 345 yards passing the game. He threw for 400 against Minnesota, completing 74% of his passes. 7 touchdowns passing, 2 rushing. Scored 38 and 34 points in the 2 games. Skip, those 2 guys have played better thus far than Tom Brady. Are they better players? No. Are they playing better right now? Yes.
No. So I want our viewers to let this sink in. So FedEx gives this weekly award.
Yeah.
And we've had 2 weeks of professional football so far.
Yes.
National Football League football. And Tom Brady has won their Player of the Week award for each of the first 2, not 1 week, but 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, he won it with 2 interceptions the first week, which is, I've never seen anybody win that, but okay.
Although the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe told me the day after that game, on Friday after the Thursday night game, that you disqualified both interceptions because they were not Tom Brady's fault.
Well, I can make a case that this loss wasn't Mahomes' fault, but it's on his resume. Edwards-Helaire fumbled the ball, but that loss is going to be charged to Patrick Mahomes.
Yet the floodgates opened, the door got opened when Patrick Mahomes tried something he should not have tried. Even he shouldn't have tried, and threw a late third-quarter interception, and all of a sudden Baltimore said, aha, we got a chance now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was what you call a turnover-worthy play. Tom Brady, through 2 games, has had 0 turnover-worthy plays, according to Pro Football Focus, your favorite website. Well, 0 turnover-worthy plays.
But he has 3 turnovers. Okay. So what about the fumble? Was that a turnover?
Well, we're talking about throws.
No. Turnover-worthy plays. They say turnover-worthy plays.
He got sacked from
so is that not a turnover?
Well, it is.
Is that his fault?
Yep.
Okay, then.
It was his fault.
I'm just making sure.
But we're talking about interception-type throws. He's had no throw that was turnover-worthy because the one throw on Thursday night, opening night against my Cowboys, hit Fournette right in the hands, and you said he's got to catch
Yes.
that. The other one was a Hail Mary at the end of the half, and he just threw it into the crowd. And I don't know what possesses Gronk. Gronk just can't jump. Remember in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia, Brady threw a perfect Hail Mary at the end of the game that could have changed history. And Gronk just got out-jumped by 5 Eagles.
Right.
Right?
So in other words, him throwing a Hail Mary, that's not a turnover-worthy play. Him throwing a Hail Mary at the end of the game and it being an interception. But that's not a turnover-worthy play?
No, because you're just throwing it up. Well, you don't call it a turnover. You disqualified it. You said it does not count.
But I'm just saying, I'm just trying to figure what is turnover-worthy. So if a guy throws a pass and the defender picks it off, is that not turnover worthy?
Yeah.
He did throw a pass. It did get picked off.
Okay. But they don't come in all, they come in different shapes and sizes.
Yeah, that came in the turnover.
But you told me neither was a turnover type play. You did not blame Tom Brady for either one of them.
But I'm saying though, Skip, you can't say a turnover-worthy play, have the guy turn the ball over and say that wasn't worthy of being a turnover. Well, I'm sure when every quarterback throws the ball, he's saying that's a turnover-worthy play. I can't throw that. Nobody thinks they're throwing the ball and it's going to get intercepted when it leaves their hand. It just happens.
Okay.
But
and then what happened at the end of the game against my Dallas Cowboys? A 57-yard drive happened in the last 122. It was GOAT being GOAT again. We got GOATed.
Let me ask you a question. In that game, did he play better than Derek Carr played against the Baltimore Ravens? Did Tom Brady in the first game against the Cowboys, did he play better than Derek Carr played against the Ravens? It's a simple question, Skip. A simple yes or a simple no.
I would say he played great in that game. That's one of the better games I've seen him play because Dak Prescott played the game of his life.
All I ask,
it required GOAT out playing Dak. Right?
I get. Hold on. Is Dak better than Lamar Jackson?
As a passer, yeah.
As a football player, as a quarterback, is Dak Prescott better than Lamar Jackson as a quarterback?
No.
No, he's not.
Okay.
Derek Carr beat him in overtime, 435 yards.
Okay, but what happened at the end of the Cowboy game? Tom Brady does what he always does because he goes complete, and then he goes, if we could see it again, 24 yards to Chris Godwin for the money play. This is the money throw of the night. This is the one that saves the game. This sets up the field goal that wins the game. To Chris, a little back shoulder. They worked on it all offseason.
Do you remember the throw that Derek Carr had that he thought he had won the game and the ball was down on the one they ended up throwing and they ended up throwing the interception? Derek Carr, was that interception Derek Carr fault? You said Willie Snead should have caught the ball.
I thought so. Yep, I give you that. But would Derek Carr have won that game if Lamar hadn't fumbled twice in the fourth quarter? Lamar just gave the game back. You came in the next day and said Baltimore should have won the game.
They should have.
Am I right? And then Derek Carr goes to Pittsburgh, and what happens? Devin Bush out before the game. Joe Hayden, their best corner, out before the game. T.J. Watt by mid-second quarter out with a groin pull. And Derek said after the game, boy, it gets a lot easier without having to worry about that guy.
Well, hold on.
Am I right?
Did the Cowboys have any out? Zach Martin didn't play.
Okay, so
it might have been Dak might have threw for 700 yards. Okay, but all I'm saying is, if you look at what Derek Carr's done and who he's done it to, you said yourself you had Pittsburgh to win the division and go far.
They have been decimated. It's getting worse by the minute. I'm afraid to look at my phone. There'll be another update.
Well, hold on. What about the Ravens? Have they been decimated any more than the Ravens?
Well, thank you, because they were decimated going into the Raiders game, right? So Derek Carr should have won those games.
And guess what? They were so decimated they still ended up beating Kansas City. Does anybody think any less of Kansas City because they lost that game? No, they still believe they're formidable. Skip, you can't make this a lifetime achievement award.
It's not.
Tom Brady has not played better than Derek Carr. Okay. I'm not saying over the course of the season that Brady won't pass him, but 2 games into the season.
Okay, so opening night against, I told you, a Cowboy defense that was going to be at least 50% better than a year ago. He throws 4 touchdown passes and orchestrates once again a walk-off drive.
Yes.
How many of those has he done? We've lost count. And then Against Atlanta, he throws 5 touchdown passes.
Skip, really?
Okay? 5 touchdown passes. And when I look back at the Cowboy night, remember, he threw what could have been a 5th touchdown pass, and Godwin got stripped by my little man Kazee right near the goal line, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was almost 5. He could have 5 and 5. He could have 10 through 2 games. I predicted he's going to win the MVP and have 50 touchdowns, and you laughed at me. And is he not on pace for 50 right now?
He's on pace for more, but Skip, I get on the pace, but he has not played better than Derek Carr.
Yeah, he has.
Skip, what Derek Carr did on Skip, there's no way a rational, prudent person can say Tom Brady played better opening Thursday night than Derek Carr did on opening Monday night.
Boy, I don't know about that.
435 yards in a walk-off game winning overtime?
Yeah, well, it took overtime. I thought he played great. I thought Tom Brady played great. It's one of the better games I've ever seen him play.
Skip, I'm not saying Tom didn't, but he did outplay Derek Carr.
Okay.
And you look at what you love Kyler Murray. Look at what Kyler Murray went on the road to Tennessee. Tennessee just went on the road and beat Seattle. And you believe Seattle's a playoff team.
Okay. But Kyler Murray needed Minnesota's kicker to miss from 37, or you lose to Minnesota at home.
Skip,
am I right?
At the end of the day, all you can do, the man threw for 400 yards. The man did all he possibly could. His defense, Kyler Murray's having to bail his defense out.
Tom Brady, no turnover-worthy plays and 9 touchdown passes, leads the league.
I need somebody to tell me what's a turnover-worthy play. Because the guy fumbles the ball on a strip sack, that's not a turnover-worthy play. The guy throws a Hail Mary and the guy gets picked off, that's not a turnover-worthy play. Derek Carr throws the ball, it goes through Willie Snead's hands, hits a defender in the helmet, pops up in there, and the guy catches it, and it's a turnover-worthy play. I'm confused. That's all I'm saying, Skip. I'm confused in how they judge turnover-worthy
Well, I don't know if they call that turnover-worthy.
Well, Derek Carr got no turnover-worthy plays then, because he got one, he got no turnover.
Well, I don't know. I haven't watched it close enough to actually rank all of his
You
throws.
watched it.
Well,
watched it what that number he did on Pittsburgh.
I read yesterday that Brady's the only quarterback left who has no turnover-worthy plays.
I don't care nothing about no turnover-worthy plays. I'm the only guy. Skip, you want to be the only guy that has money in the bank, or the guy that once had money in the bank? I want to be the guy. So that's what I know. Tom Brady has turned the ball over 3 times. Derek Carr has turned it over once. That's what we know. He has more yards, a high completion percentage, yards per attempt, and they have the same number of big plays. You love big plays. Tom Brady and Derek Carr have the same number. And one guy beat the Ravens and the Steelers, and one guy beat Dallas and Atlanta. Wow.
Wow. You sure those were the Steelers he beat? Because they didn't look like the same Steelers to me.
Them are the Cowboys. Your Cowboys still sorry. So what about Atlanta? So what are we going to do about the Falcons? Let's talk about them. Okay. Of the team the Raiders beat the Steelers and the Ravens. Do you believe Atlanta is better than the Steelers, the banged up, or the Ravens?
Nope. Okay. 5 touchdown passes. You want to talk about a red zone guru? This guy, it's so hard to get it in the end zone, in the red zone, and Brady is just automatic. I've never seen anything like it.
Jalen Hurts.
He doesn't even take 3 downs to do it. He does it on first down.
Let this sink in. Jalen Hurts threw for over 300 yards. No, for 200 plus yards and 3 TDs against the Falcons. Did you see what Jalen Hurts looked like Sunday against San Francisco?
I thought he looked pretty good. He threw 2 sweet deep.
The man had 11 points. The man scored 11 points, Skip. Really?
Against San Francisco? Well, watch what happens to your man Aaron Rodgers, or your used-to-be man Aaron Rodgers when he goes to San Francisco.
Whoa. Your guy was at home. I mean, Atlanta gave up 30-plus points at home. They gave up 2 of those scores were not on Atlanta's defense. But Skip, you don't have it. Skip, you have little to no regard for Atlanta's defense. You know that. I know that.
All I know is I predicted. I went clear to the very tip end of the limb, and I predicted Tom Brady's going to win the MVP this year, and you laughed at me. Don't give me wow, because you said that is crazy talk.
Wow, Tom Brady.
And he's off to the races. I said 50-plus touchdown passes. You said that is insane.
Well, Skip, on
track.
You can think about it. You got Atlanta twice. That's at least 8 touchdowns right there.
I took that into account when I made my prediction, right?
And he might get everything that you said, but 2 games into the season, Derek Carr has played better than Tom Brady. I'm saying 2 games. That's all we're basing this on. Not the other 15 to come, and not any awards that comes after it. 2 games into the season, Derek Carr and Kyler Murray, in my estimation, have played better than Tom.
NFL.com ranks Brady #1. FedEx says back-to-back weeks player of the
Let me
week.
ask you a question. Well, why hasn't he been NFL player of the week?
No mercy.
Bears rookie quarterback Justin Fields is set for his first NFL start this weekend against the Browns on Fox. Now, Andy Dalton is expected to miss the game with a knee injury, but Coach Matt Nagy says that the veteran signal caller will remain the starter when healthy moving forward. So, Shannon, will Fields seize this opportunity and win the job for good?
Well, theoretically, he didn't seize the opportunity. He got it by default. It doesn't matter, Skip, but he's the starting quarterback now. We've heard this before. Skip, you know Jerry Jones was still talking about when Tony Romo was healthy, he was going to be the starting quarterback. He said that in week 8, week 9, week 12. Guess what? I guess Tony back hadn't healed up yet because it's been 5-6 years that Dak's still the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. So this is going to be incumbent on Justin Fields. Now, for me, if I had waited this long to start Justin Fields, I'm going to let him ride it out. Andy Dalton is not my quarterback of the future. So unless Justin Fields get hurt, I'm not going back to Andy Dalton.
You're not?
I'm not.
But you said from the start that Andy Dalton should start this whole year.
No, I didn't say this whole year. I said Andy Dalton should start because you're buying time for Justin Fields to get... See, and everybody said, well, Trevor Lawrence is starting and Zach Wilson is starting and Mac Jones. But what did they remove? They removed the hedge that was in front of them to start. They got rid of Cam Newton. Mac Jones is starter. Zach Wilson never had a vet in there to start.
No.
Neither did Trevor Lawrence. They had Minshew. And Urban tried to convince us, it's still between Minshew. And what did they do? They ended up trading Gardner Minshew.
They did.
So, in other words, they got Andy Dalton. And they made it abundantly clear to me, Skip, when you paid Andy Dalton the money that you paid him and you brought him in, he was going to start to buy you some time for Justin Fields until he got mature enough to be able to start. Now that Andy Dalton getting injured has sped that process up, I'm not going back to Andy Dalton unless Justin Fields get hurt.
Yet Matt Nagy says he will not lose his job.
So here's the thing, Skip. And see, this is why I believe Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy knows he needs to win games. He believes Andy Dalton gives him a better chance to win than Justin Fields.
I agree with that, and that's why he also believes that the honeymoon period could last longer because the longer he waits or keeps Justin Fields at bay on the sideline, that the longer it buys time for him because he says, let's wait until next year to start the Justin Fields era. Right?
I don't know if Pace and I don't know if Miss McCaskey, who owns the team from her late father, Coach George Hallis, Skip, I don't know if they're going to wait until next year to let him. Someone else, if they don't win games, someone else is going to be coaching Justin Fields next year. Not Matt Nagy. But I do believe Matt Nagy felt that Andy Dalton gave him the best chance to win. Skip, look, it's hard for me to second guess. I don't like second guessing coaches that see a player every single day.
Yep.
And I just think there's some mistakes that I've seen Justin Fields make just from the TV. Now, I haven't gone back and looked at film. Now, I can do that and tell you, says, okay, this is where he should have gone, this is what he should have done.
Yep.
But if he make a mistake like he made in Buffalo against Jadeveon Clowney or Myles Garrett, Andy Dalton going to be starting again soon.
Okay, so I told you from the start, after one preseason game, I saw enough of Justin Fields to say they have to go with him now.
Okay.
Because I know Andy Dalton's game. I know what he is and I know what he is not. And he is not he is a great backup quarterback. And he actually played pretty well for my Dallas Cowboys last year. And he won a game at Minnesota and very nearly should have won a game at Giants that would put them right back in the division race. But the point is that he's not the future of the Chicago Bears. Once you commit to Justin Fields in the draft, once you spend that much draft capital to acquire him, you just play him.
I'm trying to save my job. I didn't draft him. Ryan Pace drafted him.
I'm saying what I would do.
Okay.
What I would do is I'm going to play Justin Fields. I like his body language. I like his poise under fire. He is going to make horrendous rookie mistakes that nearly cost him his head, his literal head. His helmet came on. I think we have that play, don't we? Maybe we do. I can't remember. But the point is that here we go. We got it. This is eyeside. This is this is the one you can see him coming, right? It's not blindside. It's eyeside, and you literally almost get your head knocked off. No good. No good. Okay, so I got it. That will happen. I hope that doesn't happen.
No, that better not happen, Skip.
A similar mistake will occur this coming Sunday.
Right.
They're playing at Cleveland, which not easy, obviously. And I don't care that he went to The Ohio State. It has no connection. He's from Atlanta, and he went to Georgia. He wanted to play for Georgia.
Right.
That's where he wanted to play, right?
And can you believe that Jake Fromm?
Jake Fromm? Really? Okay.
Kirby.
So I still like how he handles himself.
Yes.
And I like his mobility, and I like his guts and his playmaking. He's got that playmaker gene in him where he'll make a play here and there where you'll say, wow, that'll work.
He's going to need all that, Skip.
He will need it all.
Because you know the Bears' offensive line is not very good.
I got it.
And so,
but what rookie quarterback has played great? None of them do. Even Andrew Luck had a good record, 11-5, but he was a turnover machine.
Yeah.
Peyton led the league in interceptions as a rookie. I don't care. Speed up the growth process.
But here, the thing is that I understand what you're saying, but Ryan Pace is trying to save his job. Not Ryan Pace, excuse me. He might be trying to save his job too. He might be trying, but I'm talking about Matt Nagy. And Matt Nagy felt that the vet gives me the better chance.
I got it.
They're going to be growing pains with a rookie quarterback. There's not been a rookie that's ever come in the league. So whomever you say your favorite player is, he was a rookie once and he struggled.
I got it.
Trust me.
But Justin Fields will play pretty well Sunday. That's what I believe.
Well, he's going to have to, Skip.
Yep.
You like Cleveland.
I mean, they're not going to win.
But he's going to play well.
Yes.
No mercy.
This weekend on Fox starts Saturday strong with a big noon kickoff pregame show at 10 a.m. Eastern live from Soldier Field in Chicago. Then at noon Eastern, the 12th-ranked Fighting Irish take on number 18 Wisconsin. Big noon Saturday begins at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Now, Tom Brady's trainer, Alex Guerrero, opened up about some of the reasons why TB12 left New England. In a new interview, Guerrero pointed the finger at Bill Belichick's treatment of TB12, saying, quote, he never evolved. You can't treat someone who's in his 40s like they're 20. It doesn't work. So, Shannon, do you believe Alex Guerrero is speaking for Brady?
Yeah. I've said this all along, Skip. I'm a firm believer. Skip, you know what today is? It's only fitting that we're having this topic. September 23rd, 2001. Tom Brady replaced the injured Drew Bledsoe 20 years ago.
Oof.
Of course. I've been saying this. But, Skip, that's how Coach Belichick keeps his stranglehold on the team. Remember, this is how he keeps the purse strings tight. Well, I only play Tom this. I can't pay you more than Tom. I treat Tom like this. I can't treat you better than Tom. So that's how he's always been able to reside and hover over that organization. But I told you, at some point in time, Skip, all the winning in the world is not going to be overcome that. My college coach, Bill Davis, rest his soul, he used to tell us all the time, I'm going to treat you all fair, but I ain't going to treat you all the same. That guy, he gets certain privileges that other guys understand. I understood that John Elway and Terrell Davis was going to be able to do things, miss practice, and do things that I wasn't going to be. And I was cool with it. Because my time was going to come and Shannon Sharpe was going to get treated different.
And by the way, Alex Guerrero said the other Patriots would have been cool with it if Brady had been treated differently.
What I look like being John Elway, man, why John ain't practicing? Man, they just gone to been to 5 Super Bowl. Then stop. I'm good, Skip. I'm good with it. But you can't, and that's what college coaches struggle with, Skip, when they come to the pros. You can't treat a grown man that got a wife and kid like you can a teenager.
No.
Coach Belichick should have acquiesced. Okay, Tommy, you want a day? Okay, Tommy, don't call him out in front of his team.
No, that's it.
You cannot he treated him the exact same way. The way he drafted him, treated him like a 6th rounder until the day he walked out the door.
That is correct. And now Tom Brady is on a revenge mission.
Yeah.
You can call it a tour. And first it was his father the other day. Remember, his father took a shot at Belichick. And now the trainer that he is so close with, it's like a brother, is taking a public shot at Bill Belichick. And you cannot tell me it's not all coming from Brady himself. Because his blood is boiling and he is spoiling to go back to Foxborough and stick it to the coach who gets so much credit for creating him and the Patriot dynasty.
The game that he had against Atlanta, he won that game against them. He want to throw 5 touchdowns against them.
Lord have mercy, does he? That's why I told you earlier in the show, I'm a little concerned that he would actually look past by far the toughest game on his schedule, which happens to be at Rams, as he looks to Foxborough, which which will be the game of his life. This is the one he would want more than any.
Yeah.
He would probably give up a Super Bowl for this game.
Oh, yeah.
To go back and stick it to him and put him back in his place.
Yes.
And Guerrero is saying what you've been saying from the start. You have to evolve. He said he couldn't evolve until when Tom gets to 35 and then 40. You have to start treating with some respect. You can't have a film session, a full team film session, and call him out and humiliate him in front of the team because he's already won 5, 6 Super Bowls. You can't do that.
After he wins the first one, you can't do that anymore.
No,
Skip, even though I made mistakes, Mike never did that. If there was a problem, I did something in the game, I missed an assignment, Mike would call me up to his office. He's like 84, I would never do that in front of the team.
Or during practice, from what I was told, starting with Chad Johnson, then Ocho Cinco, Belichick will stop, or he used to stop practice, just stop it cold and go after Tom Brady. What are you thinking?
No.
Well, Elway wouldn't have stood for that. Troy Aikman wouldn't have stood for that. How many times did Jimmy Johnson say, hey, Troy, Emmett, Michael, they have different rules, right?
Exactly.
Because they're just going to have different rules.
Well, you remember when Jimmy cut the guy? The reporter asked him, say, was that have been Troy? He said, I woke his ass up. The other guy got cut. I'd have woke, hey, Troy, you dozing.
Okay.
But Skip, that's just the way, look, Coach Belichick knows this, Skip, but in order for him to keep that stranglehold on the locker room like he has it, he felt he had to do it this way.
Okay, Brady knows that he allowed Bill Belichick to stay prehistoric. Like he didn't evolve to the point that he was so outdated. He was getting away with an iron-fisted rule over a team that no coach in the league at that point in history could get away with.
But Skip, I fought Tom too, because Tom could have went to Bill. He had the cachet. Even though I was never the player, but there are certain things I told my coaches, you can't talk to me like that. Now, if you keep talking to me like that, I'm going to see what you're talking about.
Tom was raised by his dad to be a good soldier, do what the coach says.
You know how we came. Skip, I came up in the era before Tom. It was always the coach. Yes, sir, the coach is right. The coach is never wrong. But as I got to be an adult, you're not finna talk to me any kind of way. Because if you keep talking to me any kind of way, I'm going to need to find out what you're really talking about.
Yeah. This is Tom Brady finally out from under Bill's thumb.
Yes.
This is Tom Brady having gone to Tampa in a pandemic with a torn MCL and won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
This is Tom Brady freed, Tom Brady unleashed, and he is now trying to get even with the man who, quote unquote, created him.
Yep.
And he's doing it through dad and through trainer.
But Skip, what did I tell you? You remember his last year? He didn't show up for OTAs. Remember his last year? He was in Qatar. On the back of a camel, Monaco, wherever he was. I say, Skip, it's over. Because Tom Brady in the previous 19 years would have never done that. He was always there. And he tried to make it with Tommy and missed. No, Tommy didn't.
Okay,
that was a big thing.
You brought it up a few minutes ago. He plays an AFC championship game and throws for 124 in the fourth quarter, and they come back from 20-10 down to Jacksonville at home in the cold with 12 stitches in the palm of his throwing finger, thumb and palm. And the point is, Belichick just dismisses it after the game and says, well, it wasn't exactly open heart surgery.
Any other coach would have been heaping praise, and that's what makes that guy special.
Beginning of the end right there.
That was it.
Yep.
That was the beginning of the end, is when he tried to get Jimmy G.
Oh, well, definitely.
No mercy.
Well, as Tom Brady continues to evolve with the NFL style of play, he noticed something distinctly different about the way defenses play today. On a radio show, the Super Bowl MVP said that, quote, the game is a little softer than it used to be. So, Shannon, is he right?
Yeah. But Tom Brady's benefited from it being soft. Tom Brady reminds me of these billionaires. These billionaires, Skip, that said, you know what? We should pay more taxes. After they've taken advantage of every tax loophole that's ever been created. Now you've gained access worth way beyond anybody means. Now you want to be taxed. Now Tom Brady, after he's benefited from this, the way you can attack the quarterback, the way you can attack the receiver, the way you can handle the receiver, he's benefited now. Oh, it's soft now. Oh, you say that after the fact. When they put that Tom Brady rule in, I didn't hear Tom Brady speak up. When they put the rule in, when they put an emphasis on the 5-yard, Tom Brady didn't speak up. Tom Brady embraced it. He benefited from it. Now he wants to sit back after he's benefited the most and talk about, oh, yeah, it's getting soft. Man, miss me with that. All of that.
Shannon, your Brady hate does not become
And then, Skip, Has he not benefited?
You're missing the point and the boat.
Okay, please tell me the point.
Tom Brady is acknowledging publicly what your problem is with the game of football, that it's gotten soft. He is admitting he now has an unfair advantage. He is so great, he is so dominant at age 44 that he's actually laughing at you saying, Shannon, you are correct. I admit it. He is biting the hand that feeds him, the hand of the competition committee that overprotects him. Am I right? He's acknowledging.
So what good is it now if Jeff Bezos, worth $180 billion, pays more in taxes? What difference does it make now? You've accumulated all that wealth. You've got all those stats. You've got those Super Bowls. What difference does it make that he's saying it now?
But he's saying the defense is handicapped. It's at an unfair advantage because they're throwing flags on hits that they never threw flags on before.
Guess what, Skip? They didn't just start doing that when Tom got into his 40s. They did that when he was in his 30s, and he never said a word.
Well, he's actually saying, I dominated in the past and I dominate now, right?
You benefited from a system that's in place, and now you want to talk about, oh, yeah, the defense has gotten soft.
Why don't you give him credit for what he's saying?
Credit for what?
Because he's acknowledging your point.
We already knew that.
Oh, okay.
But you've already benefited from it.
Well, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern. Don't go anywhere because I heard the Colin and Joy starts right now.